Today we have Ravi Purushothaman, who is the president at Danfoss India, and he also chairs the Energy Efficiency Council at the Green Business Center of CII. Thank you for joining us today, sir. How are you?
Thank you, Shweta, and wonderful talking to you. And I'm doing fine.
Okay, it's a pleasure, sir. So, switching gears a bit, I'm just going to quiz you about some rapid fire questions about our college. Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yes, please.
Okay, so your favorite faculty,
Uh, Faculty name or the department?
the name and the department.
It's electronics and Mr. Parthasarathi.
Okay, and best friend.
Jawahar, Javax.
Okay, have you made any foes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Hey, would you like to name some?
Well, we had a swimming pool in the campus, right? And so I ended up fighting with a few people who are from the NCC side, So the pool was not supposed to be used after 7 p.m. and we end up going there at 7 p.m. But it was more a joking for rather than anything else. So
Okay, senior who ragged you?
I think AJ Balasubramanian is a very famous guy. He's my senior and a great mentor for all of us as well.
Juniors whom you have ragged?
Well, I haven't really done that. I've never mastered it.
Okay. Have you bunked classes?
Many.
Okay. What's your go-to spot with your friends at college?
So Runs Hotel in Adyar is to be our Friday night and Saturday night dinner, and Friday night movie would be in Satyam Cinemas or Devi Bala Devi Paradise. We generally go on a second show, and we used to return by the small trucks which ferry the quarry stones from Pallavaram to the port.
Okay.
And as the empty lorries return after a second show, we all jump onto the lorry at Satyam or Devi Bala or Devi Paradise, get down at Saidapet Bridge, have a cup of tea, and walk through Srinagar Colony and get into the hostel.
Okay, that's nostalgic times.
Yeah.
Your favorite snacks in the canteen?
I think the vada was fantastic.
Okay. The thing that you despised about CEG?
Nothing really, I enjoyed my time there, honestly. Nothing. I mean, everything was fantastic. I mean, the atmosphere, it was really a very, very large family and absolutely wonderful time.
Okay, that's beautiful. And what's this about CG strikers? Can you tell us a little about it?
1985 batch, we were called the CEG strikers, because there were a couple of strikes. I think one was really, there was this Sri Lankan problem, and there was some strike at that time. And then we had a strike briefly because, the 5-year batch was simultaneously passing along with the 4-year batch. So I think they postponed the departure by about 6 months. So we also joined that strike. It was a very brief period. So I think during the 4-year course, I think we had 3 or 4 strikes. So we were famously called as CEG strikers.
Okay, wonderful. CG in one word.
It's a wonderful place to go back.
Okay, so that's the end of the rapid fire questions. So thank you so much. So now I'd like to ask you, how has CG shaped your professional career?
I think it's been a lot of learning for me in the college. I came from Coimbatore, um, went into a hostel life for the first time in college. Um, and in the hostel, I made great friends, great camaraderie, learned a lot from my roommates and my neighbors. I think I've spent time in 3 different hostels, and we used to have 3 people in one room. And I think the time that I spent taught me about diversity, resilience, inclusion, networking. My social skills significantly improved because I was a very reserved boy when I came to a hostel. Initially, there was a lot of fear, at least from the family side, to allow me to stay in a hostel. Um, I think my 4.5 years of hostel life really made me a great human being. I mean, where I could take on the world, venture it boldly and face any difficult moments. And I think the hostel teaches you lots of lessons, and those lessons are, life lessons which you can carry through your entire career.
Okay, that's beautiful. So you've just said it in one word, but I think it's given you a big transformation.
Yeah.
So energy efficiency is a buzzword today. So the entire world is heading towards decarbonization and a gas-based economy. What's one challenge that you handled and brought a solution to it that you're really proud about?
Spreading awareness has been one of my biggest challenge and also the opportunity. When you look at the greenest form of energy, it's the energy we waste. As you know, um, we require as an economy lots of energy to grow. And more technologies are only consuming more and more energy. And today, almost 70% of the energy that we produce is coming from fossil fuels. So the challenge for common citizens, to governments, uh, to industry, is to really create significant awareness about the potential opportunity about the energy that is wasted. So I think this is an area where we have tried to focus a lot and deploy technologies to really optimize energy usage and also reuse the energy that is wasted. And this is where I think we have been very, very successful, both me individually as a person and also as a company that I represent.
Okay, so it must be amazing to see the impact of these decisions in real life.
Significant impact because we not only are reusing energy, but we are also reducing carbon emissions.
Okay. On a day-to-day basis, how do you internalize this sustainability as a theme?
I think it's in the culture of the way we do things. If I give you a perspective, we built a green campus on a 50-acre site.
Hmm.
And when we started the campus, we were about 600 people, and now we are about 3,000 people on the campus. Just to take one example, we used to consume 135 liters of water per person per day in the campus in 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Today, consciously, we brought deploying technology, creating awareness and social transformation. We have reduced the water consumption to about close to 40 liters per person per day, which is something like 66% reduction in the water consumption.
Okay.
Uh, how did we get there? I think end of the day, you know, energy efficiency is very challenging because it really requires significant social awareness. It requires everybody to contribute a little bit, because small drops create a large ocean finally when it comes to energy efficiency. The hardest part here is how do you aggregate the waste and bring it to sustainable value? And there, I think we could achieve the water saving only through measuring. And the first thing we established was what is our baseline and what was the data telling us. And the data was put on a display board in front of the reception. And then we started setting targets slowly and then deploying technology and creating more awareness, so that each and every employee who is in the campus significantly adds their part to this bigger goal of reducing water consumption. And water is not freely available, and it's one of the most precious resource for any company, any household, or any government for that matter. So measuring, getting data, taking action on the data using technology, and communicating the mission on what we want to get out of the water conservation, and getting all hands on the deck to collaborate and co-create the success. So social transformation is very important in energy efficiency.
Okay. So that's an amazing thing, sir. So in short, you're talking about the data-driven approach, the awareness generation, which can bring a behavioral change from the people and a
Yeah,
social transformation that's needed.
absolutely.
And Niti Ayog has been saying there's water crisis to come in all the metropolitan cities. And by following your approach or scaling up your business, I think we can avert a water crisis in the near future.
Absolutely. I mean, water is a lot of work to do on water, in my view, because there are very difficult moments waiting for us if we don't take action.
Mhm. Okay. So can you tell us about three major accomplishments during your tenure at Danfoss, sir?
One of my biggest accomplishment has been working with people. Um, I my strength is not my domain knowledge. I actually learn. I'm an electronics and communication engineer, where all my life I've spent more on communication. But I work for a company which is into energy efficiency, cooling, heating, hydraulics, and a little bit power electronics. Now, I'm not a domain expert here actually, but I learned a lot from my colleagues. So my biggest success has been building teams and continuously showing the team what should be our North Star and how we go and conquer the North Star. So we first set a goal of getting to 100 crore sales, then we set a goal of 500 crore sales, then we set a goal of 1000 crore, then we set a goal of 2000 crore. Now we are embarking on 8000 crore. So at every stage, building the people, bringing together the right skill sets, and also sensitizing and working with people has been my biggest success. uh, and listening is very important in leadership. So I'm someone who is very impatient for outcomes, but at the same time, I'm also quite a sharp listener on key things which is going to make a transformation in the way we want to relive our future. So I would say that working with people has been my biggest success. The second area is taking big bets, risks. One of the learnings I have in my life is failures teaches you a lot of lessons. Success doesn't, because in failure you can analyze what went wrong and what kind of corrective actions are needed. Success really doesn't teach you anything. So I think the culture of experimentation has been very high, uh, which is also coming from the resilience and never giving up things. There were so many challenges we have seen in even setting up and running, but we never gave up, and we keep putting in a very high degree of perseverance. That's been a hallmark of what we have achieved as a company and as a team. And then lastly, I think my biggest strength is networking. I I like to get connected to people, because every time I spend time with people, I continuously learn, because it really sharpens myself to stay relevant. And in a fast changing world, I don't think so. You can go to do a PhD or an MBA again and again and again. But actually, in real world, when you're networked, you learn a lot. What are the continuously changing paradigms, and how you can continuously reinvent yourself and also reinvent your team, you reinvent your strategies, and how you stay relevant. Because staying relevant in a constantly changing world is an art.
Those are some amazing insights, sir. So when I went through your LinkedIn profile, I saw some of the accomplishments. So that's what I had in mind when I asked you what your accomplishments were. But I'm really thrilled and surprised to see how you're connecting your accomplishments to people-based values and skills like building people, building teams, resilience, networking. It's so wonderful, sir. Thank you for sharing such awesome insights. And you're one of the panelists of the sustainability panel. So can you tell us three ways in which we can make CG more energy compliant building?
I think first we should set a target for carbon neutrality of CEG.
Okay.
We should talk to the vice chancellor and say, okay, how do we make College of Engineering, the entire university, or the campus or the main building, how can we make it carbon neutral?
Mhm.
Which means we need to measure the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions, and start deploying an action plan. First, we have to establish the baseline. What is the current level of emission from CEG,
Okay.
and how can we set some aspirational goals, and how come the alumni can help CEG to become carbon neutral? I think we have a fascinating bunch of alumni who are working on this space, and we can give back to our motherhood university. That would be an amazing thing. I mean, so if we can actually rally around our vice chancellor and get the university carbon neutral, and in the process, I think we also learn, how difficult sustainability is or how easy sustainability is, and then really make sure that we transform the university and make it as an iconic pilot project or lighthouse project, you want to call it.
Mhm.
So I think that would be an opportunity to go after, Shweta.
Okay, sir. So hopefully, we take up this and also become a pioneer in this space as well, sustainability as a university. Okay. Can you tell us about green jobs, and can engineering students, can they relate with green jobs? Can they pursue a career in sector?
Absolutely. When you look at, to fight climate change, today companies are embarking on decarbonization as a big agenda.
Mhm.
But if you really break the decarbonization story into smaller chunks, what you see there is every industry has to establish a baseline data of where they are and when it comes to carbon emission. This cannot be done without engineers, right? So baseline data of what the emissions are in the industry has to come from engineers. So establishing that baseline data is lots of work needs to be done, and it's a huge amount of opportunity to develop technologies which are software, which are differently customized for different industries, and it's a huge opportunity in my view for engineers. Second is, specific to each industry, we have to create pathways for carbon neutrality.
Mhm.
Uh, Buildings will have a different pathway, cement plants will have a different pathway, green steel will have a different pathway, green aluminium will have a different pathway. So, in each of these pathways, how do we reduce scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 downstream, upstream emissions is only by deploying technology. Now, again, there are different types of technology. There again, a lot of um, horizontalization of engineering is going to transform. What I mean by horizontalization is, for example, in a process industry today, when you traditionally design a process industry, you have a boiler as one loop, and then you also have a cooling as another loop.
Mhm.
But in a decarbonization world, you can couple both, as an example, through heat
Okay.
pump as a technology. So heat pump is an industry which is very nascent, and potentially it can become tomorrow a great opportunity for companies to create new products. For example,
Mhm.
startups can create a lot of heat pump solutions for the industry. So, in my view, this whole story of decarbonization can be broken down into small chunks, and each of these chunks are opening up great opportunities for the students as well as for young entrepreneurs.
Hopefully, the students make use of the opportunity through these panel discussions that's planned on Jan 3rd and 4th, and get to know more about green jobs and the opportunities in this sector. EGAM 4.0 is planned on Jan 3rd and 4th. So, looking forward to meet you there. Do you have a message for a fellow alumni?
I think the message would be is to come and collaborate a lot more with the other alumni and make the planet a better place for the next generation.
Okay, that's a wonderful message, sir. So, looking forward to meet you in person.
Absolutely, Shweta. And we will see you on the 4th of January, I guess, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.